The silent strike DR. Alina Vasquez pressed her face against the observation window of Mars Research Station Alpha and watched Earth disappear. Not physically, of course. The blue marble still hung in the darkness of space, still turned slowly. On its axis, still reflected the light of the sun, but in every way that mattered. Earth had vanished completely. Alina had been studying extremophile bacteria in the Martian soil when the first reports came in. Strange atmospheric changes over major cities, unusual electromagnetic readings. Then, within 6 hours, every communication from Earth simply stopped. No radio signals, no internet traffic, no emergency broadcasts. Nothing but silence from a planet that had been buzzing with 8 billion voices. Just hours before the xenobiologist ran her fingers through her black hair and tried to make sense of what she was seeing through the station's most powerful telescope. Earth looked normal from this distance, but the complete lack of any electromagnetic signature told a different story. It was as if someone had simply turned off an entire planet. Commander Jack Peterson floated up behind her in the low gravity. His weathered face showed the strain of the last 48 hours. As station commander, he had been trying frantically to establish contact with Earth, with any Earth-based facility, with anyone who might explain what had happened to their home world. Still nothing on any frequency, Peterson said quietly. I've tried everything. Emergency channels, military frequencies, even ham radio operators. It's like the whole planet just went dark. Alina turned away from the window. The research station felt different now, smaller somehow. What had been their temporary home away from Earth now might be all they had left. 23 researchers and support staff on a tiny outpost, possibly the only humans left alive in the universe. Have you heard anything from Lunar Base or the asteroid mining stations? Alina asked. Peterson shook his head. Lunar Base went silent at the same time as Earth. Too close, I guess. But we're getting scattered signals from some of the outer system. Facilities. Titan Base is still active, and so are a few of the research stations near Jupiter. Maybe a couple thousand survivors total, spread across the solar system. Alina felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's recycled air. A couple thousand humans, scattered across space, possibly all that remained of their species. She had dedicated her life to studying life in extreme environments, but she had never imagined she might become an example of it herself. 3 days later, they got their first clue about what had happened. The answer came from the aliens themselves. The transmission appeared on every functional human receiver simultaneously. The signal was impossibly strong, clearly artificial, and definitely not from anywhere in the solar system. When Alina and the rest of the station crew gathered in the communications center to listen, they heard a voice that would haunt their nightmares for years to come. The voice was speaking English, but there was something wrong with it. Too precise, too calculated, as if the speaker had learned human language from a textbook rather than from actually talking to humans. The words came through the speakers with crystal clarity. Greetings to the remaining human specimens. We are the Kithra, Empire, guardians of galactic order and cleanliness. Your species has been classified as a biological contamination and has been subject to standard sterilization procedures. This process was completed 72 hours ago. Alina felt her blood turn to ice. The clinical, emotionless tone made it even worse, somehow. These aliens spoke about genocide the way a scientist might describe cleaning a laboratory. The voice continued. Do not attempt to interfere with our cleanup operations. The remaining human specimens in off-world locations will be collected and processed within the next standard cycle. Resistance is unnecessary and will only prolong the discomfort. The Cathora Empire thanks you for your compliance. The transmission ended, leaving the communication center in stunned silence. Peterson was the first to speak. Sterilization procedures, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. They killed everyone on Earth, and they're calling it sterilization. Elena's scientific mind was already working, analyzing what they had heard. They called us specimens. Not people, not beings, specimens. They don't see us as intelligent life. To them, we're just bacteria that needs to be cleaned up. Dr. Sarah Kim, the station's physicist, pulled up a star chart on the main screen. If they've got ships coming to collect us, we need to know from where and when. That transmission came from outside the solar system, but the signal strength suggests they've got assets much closer. Alina stared at the star chart, her mind racing. She had spent years studying how life adapted to survive in impossible conditions. Extremophile organisms that thrived in boiling water, in pure acid, in the vacuum of space. Life that refused to die no matter what the universe threw at it. Maybe it was time to find out if humans were as tough as the bacteria she studied. Commander Alina said, turning to Peterson, "We need to contact every human facility that's still active. Right now, we're scattered and isolated, exactly what they want. But if we work together, if we coordinate our efforts, maybe we can be something more than just specimens waiting to be collected." Peterson nodded grimly. "What did you have in mind, Doc?" Alina looked back out the observation window at the silent Earth. Somewhere down there, 8 billion people were either dead or dying. The Cathora thought they had wiped out humanity with one efficient strike. They thought the few survivors scattered across space would be easy to mop up. They were about to learn their first lesson about human nature. When you try to exterminate the human race, you don't get compliance, you get war. We're going to survive. Alina said simply, and then we're going to make them pay for what they did to our world. Over the next week, Alina worked with communications specialist Tommy Rodriguez to establish secure contact with every human outpost they could find. The picture that emerged was both encouraging and terrifying. The Cathora had been thorough, but not perfect. Earth and Luna were completely silent, but scattered facilities throughout the outer solar system were still active. Titan Base had 200 personnel. Europa Station had 50. The asteroid mining operations had another 100 spread across a dozen small facilities. Various research stations, military outposts, and commercial operations added up to just over 3,000 survivors total. 3,000 humans, facing an alien empire that had casually committed genocide against 8 billion of their species. During one of her late-night communication sessions with the other facilities, Alina made a discovery that changed everything. Dr. Amanda Foster from Europa Station was a biochemist who specialized in suspended animation research. She had been analyzing the few data transmissions that had gotten out of Earth before the communications blackout. "Alina, I don't think they're all dead," Foster said over the encrypted channel. Alina nearly dropped her coffee. "What do you mean?" "Look at these atmospheric readings from the hours before Earth went silent. Massive release of airborne compounds, but not the kind you'd use to kill people quickly. These look like the compounds we use in our hibernation research. Complex biological agents designed to shut down higher brain functions and slow metabolic processes." Alina studied the data Foster was transmitting. Her xenobiology background helped her understand what she was looking at. "You think they put the entire planet to sleep?" "That's exactly what I think. And if I'm right, that means everyone down there is still alive. They're just in some kind of induced coma, waiting for someone to wake them up. Alina stared at the data, her heart pounding. 8 billion people, not dead but sleeping, waiting for rescue that might never come unless the scattered survivors could somehow pull off the impossible. She opened a channel to all the other human facilities. This is Dr. Alina Vasquez on Mars Research Station Alpha. I need every biologist, chemist, and medical officer to listen very carefully. We may have just found out that our people are still alive. Ghosts in the machine. Marcus Chen had always been good at fixing things that were broken. As a military engineer before the attack, he had specialized in taking damaged equipment and making it work better than it had when it was new. Now, standing in the cramped workshop of Titan Base, he was trying to fix something much more complex than any machine he had ever worked on. He was trying to fix the future of the human race. The workshop was cluttered with pieces of alien technology that Marcus and his team had been salvaging from wrecked spacecraft scattered throughout the outer solar system. For decades, humans had been finding traces of ancient conflicts between alien species, broken ships, damaged weapons, fragments of technology from civilizations that had fought and died long before humans had even invented fire. Most of it had been studied and catalogued by human scientists, then stored away in research facilities. But now, with Earth silent and the Kythera promising to come for the survivors, that junk had become the most valuable resource in the solar system. Marcus picked up a device that looked like a metallic spider with too many legs. According to the research notes, it was some kind of sensor array from a species called the Vorthon. The Vorthon had been wiped out by an unknown enemy 3,000 years ago, but their technology still functioned perfectly. Any luck with the cloaking matrix? Asked Jennifer Walsh, Titan Base's head of security. She had been a Marine before the attack, and now she was the closest thing they had to a military commander. Marcus held up the spider-like device. I think so. This Vorthon sensor uses quantum displacement to hide objects from electromagnetic detection. If I can integrate it with our ship systems, we might be able to move around without the Kythera knowing where we are. Jennifer nodded. How long? Give me another week, maybe 2. The hard part isn't making it work, it's making it work with human technology. These aliens built their stuff using completely different principles than we do. Marcus had been working 18-hour days since Alina Vasquez had shared her discovery about Earth's population still being alive. If the people down there were in some kind of suspended animation, then time was critical. Extended hibernation was dangerous under the best circumstances, and Marcus doubted the Kythera cared much about keeping their specimens healthy. Through Titan Base's small windows, Marcus could see the dim glow of Saturn's rings in the distance. Titan had always felt isolated, but now it felt like the edge of the universe. He and the 193 other people on the base were completely cut off from Earth, surrounded by hostile aliens who wanted to finish what they had started. But Marcus had learned something important during his years as an engineer. The bigger and more complex a system was, the more ways there were to break it. The Kythera thought they had humanity cornered, but they had made several mistakes. They had left survivors scattered throughout the solar system. They had underestimated human resourcefulness. And most importantly, they had given humans time to adapt. The communication system crackled to life. Elena's voice came through clearly despite the vast distance between Mars and Titan. Marcus, We're getting some interesting readings from the automated probes we sent toward Earth. It looks like the Cathora left behind a monitoring network. Marcus activated his workstation's display screen. Alina was transmitting data from several small probes that the survivors had launched toward Earth over the past 2 weeks. The probes were designed to look like natural space debris, just chunks of rock and metal drifting through the inner solar system. What kind of monitoring network? Marcus asked. Automated platforms in Earth orbit, Alina replied. Looks like maybe 30 or 40 of them, all designed to watch for any kind of unusual activity on or around the planet. If anyone tries to land on Earth or starts broadcasting from the surface, these platforms will detect it immediately. Marcus studied the probe data. The monitoring platforms were small but sophisticated, equipped with sensors that could detect everything from engine signatures to biological activity. Any attempt to reach Earth would trigger an immediate alert to wherever the main Cathora fleet was waiting. There's more, Alina continued. The platforms aren't just watching Earth. They're actively maintaining the hibernation field that's keeping everyone unconscious. If we could disable the platforms, we might be able to start waking people up. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. This was exactly the kind of problem he had trained for his entire career. A complex system with multiple failure points, defended by automated systems, requiring precision and stealth to overcome. How heavily defended are these platforms? He asked. That's the interesting part, Alina said. They don't appear to be armed at all. The Cathora probably figured that dead planets don't need much protection. They're relying on stealth and distance to keep them safe. Jennifer moved closer to Marcus's workstation. You're thinking about going after them, aren't you? Marcus nodded. With the right ship and the right equipment, we might be able to take out several platforms before the Cathora even know what's happening. Alina, how many platforms would we need to destroy to start disrupting the hibernation field? There was a pause while Alina consulted with her team. According to our calculations, if we could take out about 15 of them in key positions, we might be able to create gaps in the field coverage. Not enough to wake everyone up at once, but enough to start bringing small groups back to consciousness. Marcus was already running calculations in his head. 15 targets, spread around Earth orbit, defended by sensors that could detect conventional human spacecraft from millions of kilometers away. It would require stealth technology, precise timing, and a lot of luck. I can do it, Marcus said. Give me 3 more weeks to finish integrating this Vorthan cloaking system with one of our fast scout ships. We'll ghost right up to those platforms and take them out one by one. Over the following weeks, Marcus barely slept. He worked constantly on the stealth system, combining Vorthan quantum displacement technology with human engineering principles. The result was unlike anything that had ever been built before, a hybrid system that used alien science to hide human spacecraft from detection. The test flights were nerve-wracking. Marcus piloted the modified scout ship through Saturn's rings, past automated sensors that should have detected him immediately. The ship's quantum displacement field bent electromagnetic radiation around the hull, making it effectively invisible to most forms of detection. But the real test would come when they tried to approach Earth. Marcus launched his mission on a Tuesday morning, local Titan time. The modified scout ship was small and fast, equipped with the best stealth technology the survivors had been able to build. Along with the Vorthan cloaking system, Marcus had installed salvaged weapons from 6 different alien species. He was flying a ship that represented the combined technological knowledge of multiple galactic civilizations, all jury-rigged together by human ingenuity. The flight to Earth took 4 days. Marcus spent most of that time running, silent, trusting, in the stealth system to keep him hidden from whatever sensors the Cathora might have scattered throughout the solar system. He flew past Mars Research Station Alpha, past the asteroid belt where human mining operations had once thrived, past the silent ruins of Lunar Base. And then he was there, hanging in space just outside Earth's atmosphere, looking down at his sleeping world. Earth looked peaceful from orbit, but Marcus knew better. 8 billion people lay unconscious down there, trapped in whatever nightmare the Cathora had inflicted on them. The monitoring platforms were exactly where Alina had predicted, spread around the planet in a careful pattern, designed to maintain complete surveillance. Marcus targeted the first platform and fired. The salvaged weapon system worked perfectly, sending a focused energy beam that disintegrated the alien monitoring station in seconds. There was no explosion, no debris, just a brief flash of light and then empty space where the platform had been. 1 down, 14 to go. Marcus spent the next 6 hours playing a deadly game of cat and mouse with the automated systems. Each time he destroyed a platform, the remaining ones became slightly more alert, their sensors sweeping space more carefully. But the quantum displacement field held, keeping his ship invisible even as he moved from target to target. When the 15th platform disappeared in a flash of energy, Marcus felt something change. The very air around Earth seemed different somehow, less oppressive. Deep in the planet's major cities, people who had been unconscious for weeks began to stir. Not many, not yet, but enough to prove that the plan was working. Marcus opened a communication channel to Alina. "Package delivered," he said simply. "Time to wake up, our people. Down on Earth, in hidden bunkers and underground shelters that had survived the initial attack, small groups of humans began to wake up from their enforced sleep. They woke up confused, frightened, and angry, but they woke up ready to fight. The Cathora had made their biggest mistake yet. They had given humanity time to prepare, time to adapt, and time to get very, very angry. The war was about to begin in earnest. Asterisk.